Hello, hello. Good morning out there. This is Dr. Lisa, and welcome to Manifestation Mondays. Okay, so today I'm going to talk to you about an oldie but a goodie. This is from a class that I created called Creating Your Financial Reality. And then some participants renamed it way back in the day, called it Creating Your Financial Reality. Now, a lot of people get really excited about manifesting and money, and some people get a real deep heaviness about manifesting and money. Really just depends on where you are with your own limitations energetically, believe it or not, when it comes to money. In working with people over these now 30 years or more, I've actually found that it is pretty difficult for some people to change their financial reality. Everybody always wants to, but not everybody is willing to be as honest as they need to be in order to change your financial reality. Now, some people just have it naturally easy, whether it be karma or genetics or whatever. And some people have had it really, really difficult. Same thing, karma or genetics. And then there's these shades of gray for all of us in the middle, where you have these fits and spurts, so to speak. It comes in, it goes out, it comes in, it goes out, a little bit up, a little bit down. Some people describe it like a roller coaster. Regardless of where you are in your financial reality, there's always a moment to change, like right now. So welcome to Manifestation Mondays. And this is an oldie but a goodie. And there are 3 questions I'm going to guide you through that I want you to use as a tool as you take a look into what's going on with your finances. Doesn't matter if it's good or not so good. These 3 questions that I'm going to run through with you here are going to help you. So, what are the questions? 1, who are you being? Who are you being? 2, what are you being? What are you being? And 3, what lie are you buying into? Who am I being? What am I being? What lie am I buying into? Very, very easy. I wanted to make this as simple as possible. Who am I being? What am I being? What lie am I buying into? Those are the 3 questions. If you want to make a 1-degree shift, and when I say 1-degree shift, I mean literally that 1 degree. Anybody can make a 1-degree shift. If you're a captain changing the Nautilus 1 degree on a ship in the middle of the ocean, that is a huge, huge, huge change in the midst of the ocean, just 1 degree. Same with money. In fact, it's the same with anything. Just take, what can you do right now to make that 1-degree shift? Here on Manifestation Mondays, I'm talking to you about all things prosperity, manifestation, actualization, and abundance-wise. And yes, specifically about money. The cruel joke about money is it's just energy. And the universe is a giving universe. Now, I know that that sounds very like toxic positivity in a certain way. However, I've experienced this myself, where I know that when I'm thinking in the energy of the universe, giving to me what it is that I wish to actualize, and the universe is a very giving universe, I get it. And when I'm in the state of just like, it doesn't matter, or I'm not thinking about it, or maybe I'm having a hard day, or there's a season in my business that's going a little wonky, or personally in my home life, maybe we've had a lot of particular expenses for, I don't know, say broken ACs and those sorts of things. Then it becomes like, oh boy, there's a lot more going out than coming in that moment. And that could be really difficult and very scary at times, right? And especially if you're an entrepreneur or a single person in a household with children or just living on your own, life is expensive. The world is expensive, and it's only getting more and more expensive. So taking care of yourself and using these small 1 degree shift tools could really help. Now, of course, if you want to go deeper and actually change something, then, well, I should say it in a little different way, because you can actually change something by asking these questions. But if you want to go deeper than just a 1 degree shift today by asking those questions, then you got to make a commitment to, dig deeper into the subconscious about those genetic programs that we all carry with us somewhere in our subconscious that keeps us looping to the same dynamic over and over and over again. But I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself. So what are the 3 questions? I'm listening. Who are you being? What are you being? What lie are you buying into? You can make it like a little dance, little chant. Who are you being? Who am I being? What am I being? What lie am I buying into? So let me tell you how this came about. Years and years ago, when I was living in California, Northern California, which I loved, and I had my first clinic there in San Francisco. I was driving I lived in Marin County at the time, so I had to drive over the Golden Gate Bridge to get to my office in San Francisco. And I stopped off at Pete's coffee shop, one of my favorite coffee shops. All coffee shops are my favorite, tell you the truth. Any coffee shop, but Pete's happened to be my favorite on this trajectory of, actually, it was Mondays that I used to drive from Marin into San Francisco to go to my clinic particularly. And I woke up that morning and did all my regular stuff, got the mail before I went into the office. And there was something from a letter saying that I owed a certain amount of money. And I was like, wait a second. It really kind of hit me in the gut. I'm like, I always pay my bills. What's going on here? This doesn't make any sense to me. And it was a significant amount. If I remember correctly, it was over 40 grand. And I was like, ooh, that's a nut in the gut for sure. And so I'm driving into the city thinking, how did I miss this payment? Okay, what am I going to do? And of course, you can get a payment plan, no big deal. But I was all in angst about it. So I go to Pete's to get my coffee. I order my $8 or $10 coffee or whatever it was. And I remember having this nut in my gut going up to the same barista who, had greeted me every other day for months or every week when I went in there. And I forgot what I was ordering. I was tripping over my words, all because of that silly letter that said I owed $40,000 from the IRS or something it was. And I knew somewhere that it was not true, but I was scared that it was true and that I missed it and that I was going to have to come up with that money. And I was nervous about how that was going to happen. I'm sure you might have had that experience at least once in your life. So I'm ordering back to Pete's, I'm ordering my coffee, and I'm thinking, oh man, I got this bill. I don't think I should buy a $8 to $10 coffee that I never thought about before this moment. I should save it, that $8 to $10, and start paying that bill down. This is all while I'm ordering my coffee. So then I step to the side and I wait where everybody else is waiting for their coffee. And I felt this shame come over me because I was like, I should walk out, but they'll know my name. They know I always get the coffee. No, I just need to deal with this and cancel it. So I'm going through all these things in my head. It was ridiculous. And then right in that moment, I closed my eyes, I put my hand on the center of my chest, the hand in the middle of Pete's, the hand on my lower abdomen like I always do. And I was like, Lisa, who are you being right now? Immediately, the answer came, my mother. No offense to my mom, but that's who I heard. I was like, okay, what am I being right now? And I'm standing in the middle of Pete's, wasn't worried if anybody was looking at me because, it was San Francisco. People talk to themselves all the time, just like New York City. So I'm just adding color to the whole morning trip to the city. Hand on the heart center, hand on the lower abdomen. So I already know I'm being my mother. What am I being right now? And at that moment, I was like, penurious. What does penurious mean? Cheap, tight, constricted. Well, I knew why I was being cheap, tight, and constricted, and why I had those thoughts is because of that bill that I supposedly hadn't paid. I couldn't believe I missed it because I've never missed any kind of bill. And even if I had missed something, I always paid everything. So this was just not something I was used to. And I was scared. I didn't know what happens if you actually missed paying a bill with the government. Like, do they come and arrest you? My youth is speaking. This was a long time ago, decades ago, actually. But it's a really great example for me anyway. And I hope for you. And then I was still sitting there. Okay, so I'm being my mom. I'm being cheap. I want to cancel. I don't want to pay. I should keep that money, that $8, to put it toward this $40,000 bill. And then I usually gave like a $1 or $2 tip, and I held it back this time because, you know, that $1 or $2 is going to pay that $40,000 bill. And then the next question came. What lie am I buying into? Well, the lie was obvious. I'm going to keep the $2 of a tip, thinking that that's going to help me pay that $40,000 bill, when I shouldn't even have been buying the coffee in the first place if I was really going to honor this train of thought. So I paused, I took a breath, I stepped back, and I'm like, okay, I'm being my mother, I'm being penurious, and I'm buying the lie that I really can't buy myself a coffee because of this bill. And I've taken myself out of the equation, out of prosperity, out of abundance, and just in, I'm going to be jailed and never going to be able to work again. Crazy. This is all in the middle of 5 minutes. So I'm like, okay, coffee's still not made, ready yet. My name's not called. Okay, I can figure this out. Long story short, I ended up getting my coffee. I ended up giving them the $2 tip. And yes, of course, I ended up, obviously, to get the coffee, you had to pay for the $8 to $10 coffee. I walk out of Pete's and I'm like, wow, that was really interesting. That bill I got in the mail without even calling up the number to check on it, which I found out later on, not right away, but once I did call, once I got to my office, that it was a mistake, that it was sent to my address, but it wasn't to my name. I didn't even check that it wasn't my name, blah, 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 blah. So it was from a past person that happened to live at the same address that I was currently living at in Marin County, California at that time. Not the brightest crayon in the box, maybe a little sparkly at times, but not the brightest crayon in the box. But you know how that happens when you get something in the mail and you're just like, oh my God, what is it? And then you see this number 400, and you're like, what? And then you go into this like beyond moment of just like, how did this happen? What did I miss? And immediately thinking that you're wrong. Well, that's how I created this class, Creating Your Financial Reality, and how I created this book called Lies of Money. And for those of you that have known that this book came out, I don't remember when, but somewhere probably 2015 or before. It does have a new cover than the original version. And this is the second edition, Lies of Money. And it says, who are you being? And it's dedicated to all of you out there struggling with money, to all of you feeling like the debt or financial worry you are in is a big black hole that you will never climb out of or get beyond. You can have the living you desire. You can create the money, cash, currencies, investments, and vacations you like. Choose you and commit to you. This is the Lies of Money. Let me explain a little bit more. When you ask yourself the question, I double dog dare you for the next 3 weeks, every single day, 3 times a day. This is your homework or home play. If you ask yourself every time you deal with your finances, who am I being? What am I being? And what lie are you buying into? You will discover something about yourself that you never knew. Just like I did. In that moment that I had that constriction buying coffee, I never knew that I was literally being my mother in that constriction. I never knew why I thought I needed to hold back paying for something as little as coffee, as big as a vacation, as interesting as maybe getting a car or buying an outfit or buying a piece of jewelry. I realized just in that moment at Pete's Coffee that I had this angst in a lot of things that I was doing with money, whether I was buying something, whether I was budgeting something, or whether I was paying for something. There was always this weird angst, and I never understood it. And for decades, the financial pinball machine of cyclical binging and purging and binging and purging and balancing and saving and then spending. It was quite the drama, if you will, to navigate out of. But I started to navigate myself out of it by asking these questions. Who am I being? What am I being? What lie am I buying into? Over and over and over again for every interaction with money. Who am I being right now, Lisa? Who are you being with money? What are you being with money? And what lie are you buying into? That became this book. And then it became this class, Creating Your Financial Reality, which some people renamed Creating Your Financial Reality. And it started with these 3 questions. So I give it to you now on Manifestation Monday to ask yourself these questions 3 times a day for 21 days. Who am I being with money? What am I being with money? And what lie am I buying into? If you would like an adjunct to that, pick up Lies of Money, Amazon, hardcover, ebook, and Audible. The Audibles are all coming. It's a process, but it's all coming. Okay. Now, what I also learned in creating this is every time I asked myself, who are you being? Guess what? Never was it me. So I learned something else. When I wrote the first book, excuse me for getting out of frame for a moment, Radically Alive Beyond Abuse, again, 2nd edition, new cover for those of you that this one came out, I think, in 2012, maybe. Not sure, but something like that. But this is the 2nd edition. Again, new front cover, in case you are looking for the old pink one with a picture of me on it. Nope, this is the new one. This and this led to me realizing that I lived my life through a space of judgment with my mom. And that judgment led to a lot of my money problems. Then when I wrote The Lies of Money, I realized a lot of this was about my relationship with my father and my relationship watching my mother and my father create their financial madness, which became my financial reality. So when I created the 3rd book, Creating After Abuse, that was a lot about not only creating from the judgment with my mother, the financial reality of my parents, and also how to move beyond the trauma that was lodged in my body for the first 23 years of my life. So what I learned by asking those questions, who am I being, what am I being, what lie am I buying into, is that I was living my mother's reality. I was living my father's reality, and I wasn't living my own reality. Maybe some of your cyclical financial conundrums are because you are living maybe your mother's reality or your father's financial reality or the media's financial reality or a sibling's financial reality or a gender's financial reality or a socioeconomic class's financial reality or a religious belief financial reality, but maybe it's not your financial reality. So I hope you find this useful, and I would really love it if you share with me some of your thoughts about what you've learned about the financial reality you're currently in just by asking yourself these questions. Who am I being? What am I being? What lie am I buying into? Who am I being? What am I being? What lie am I buying into? Going back to this Pete's coffee shop, my mom is in no way penurious, but there was an energy in her fear of money growing up with Italian immigrants, second generation immigrants in Brooklyn, New York, having very little education, very little money, and pretty much the same with my father, except they were Irish, second generation, I believe, Irish. Both of their financial reality was limited by the time, the age, and the place that they were parented in. The Great Depression, all those sorts of things. And that's where their parents came from. So what I was picking up on without even knowing it is my mother's genetics, the Italian immigrants, the Irish immigrants' genetics of being first and second generation Americans coming over from other countries, trying to make it in New York before it was even a thing, let's just say. And I was carrying that without even knowing it. Like I said, if people talk to my mom, they would probably describe her as the most generous person they know. I mean, literally, when I was a kid, people would come into our house and my mom would be like, give them the shoes off your feet. You have another pair. I was like, okay, here. And, you know, I really didn't think twice about it because that was the way that things just were. But that also brought a whole other thought in my world, which was, well, you can't count on what you have because it's always going to go to someone else. And so all these things are subconscious programs that actually influence your financial reality, your prosperity, your abundance. So who are you being? What are you being? What lie are you buying into? It's an oldie but a goodie. And when I was asking the universe and my guides what I could talk to you about today, those were the three questions that came up, and they said, now do this. So this is for you. Again, your call to action, if you choose to accept it, ask yourself these questions every interaction you have with money, at least 3 times a day for the next 21 days. And, or at least until next Monday when I potentially come back on and do, or the next manifestation Monday, whenever I do that. Who are you being? What are you being? What lie are you buying into? Because remember, those lies are belief systems. Those belief systems are stored in your subconscious mind. And the subconscious mind is always enacting what it believes, whether you know it or not. So clear the subconscious, put your energy forward about what you actually want to create. Who am I being? What am I being? What lie am I buying into? And it looks like we got some comments here. Thank you, thank you, thank you. The comment says, it is true. My 55-year-old eyes have to move my glasses to see it. I have 2 of your great books. Thank you, thank you. It's true that these weird ancestral thoughts come up. I have a house for sale after divorce and just asked the question. It was my mother's and father's reality related to selling houses. Very good. See, it works already. Maybe now the flow will start coming in. Always grateful for you. Well, thank you very much. I really appreciate that. And thanks for sharing, because it's actually a great example. So this person is trying to sell their house, realize she asked the question. It's her mother and father's reality. What I would suggest for you and for anybody, especially if it's both your parents, who am I being, mom? What am I being? Finish that thought on your mom. What lie am I buying into? Finish that thought on your mom. Get that and work on that aspect. And then go to your father. Who am I being? Dad, what am I being with your father regarding selling the house, and what lie am I buying into? And then now you'll have two lies, your mother's lie, your father's lie, and you have to actually, my suggestion is to separate them and do some work on the mother, do some work on the father, whoever you want to do first. And what I mean by work is, well, you know what I mean by work. Find out, when you thought those beliefs the first time, how old were you? And what's the benefit of actually keeping that in place when you're trying to sell the house? Because that's the sweet spot. If you can find out what you think the benefit is of these lies that you're buying into, now that you know who they're from, mom and dad, then you could teach yourself how to receive the selling of the house and the money that will come through and the flow that you want after the divorce. There's a lot of things here, relationships and stuff. And then attract what you actually want without the hooks of the subconscious lies blocking the flow. What I can also do to help out is read you some clearings from the manual about money while I got you here. This is how you can create a 1-degree financial shift. See, you ask a question, you get me to stay on longer. I was going to end it, but now I got to read the clearings. All right. So you can just say yes to these yourself when you're listening to this live now, or if you're listening on the replay. These clearings are asked in a question, so it can bring up the energy, and then I will run the releasing statement, and technically it should release off your body. I call this, it's time to create a 1-degree shift. Are you willing to dissolve and dissipate, eliminate and eradicate all the thoughts, feelings, echoes, emotions, patterns, conditioning, energy, beliefs, perceptions, and choices, memories, ideas, dreams, promises, habits, behaviors, and programs related to what you have been told money is that it isn't? Just say yes if you want it to clear, or say no if you don't. I respect all versions of free will, yeses and nos. So if it's a yes, dissolve and dissipate that for all eternity and send it to the light so that it never comes back, and refill you, your body, your spirit, your soul with truth, strength, and clarity. Universe, show us how to actualize this with total ease. I don't know how. I know it will be. I'm grateful and fulfilled, and so it is. That's how all my clearing statements end. Or I should say the 1-degree shift releasing statement ends. Are you willing to dissolve and dissipate, eliminate and eradicate all the thoughts, feelings, echoes, emotions, patterns, conditioning, energy, beliefs, perceptions, and choices, memories, ideas, and dreams, promises, habits, and behaviors and programs related to what you have been told money isn't that it is? All of it. Dissolve and dissipate that for all eternity. Send it to the light so that it never comes back, and refill with truth, strength, and clarity. Universe, show us how to actualize that with total ease. I don't know how. I know it will be. I am grateful and fulfilled, and so it is. All right, my friends, I'm going to leave you with those 2 clearing statements. So when you bring up the energy of what you've been told something is, that it actually isn't, and you clear it, it leaves space for what your financial reality is regarding what money is to you. Okay, so that's the purpose of an energetic releasing statement, is to start loosening these subconscious holds on our flow and allow the universe to bring us what we're truly wanting to actualize. So if you feel like it, stand up, and do a little dance. Who am I being? What am I being? What lie am I buying into? Who am I being? What am I being? What lie am I buying into? Who am I being? What am I being? What lie am I buying into? Who are you being with money? What are you being with money? What lie are you buying into? Just 50% of every problem is solved if you become aware of what you're doing. 50%. It doesn't take that long. You're not going to need to be in therapy for 4 million years. Who am I being? What am I being? And I'm a therapist saying that. I don't want you in therapy for 4 million years. I want you in, I want you out, and I want you living your life and being successful. And if you want to stay and you want to keep working week after week after week after week, I love it, because that's what I do. I keep chipping away at all the subconscious programs, and I've got a buttload. So I don't feel any guilt about continuing with my own therapy or taking another class or taking another course or paying a therapist or trying a different thing. I will do whatever it takes to keep myself on the divine path of my soul, my spirit, and my life, because I only have like 100 years and I'm already hitting 56 soon. So if I only have like 100 years, I only got 46 left. I got to get cracking. So do you. Who are you being? What are you being? What lie are you buying into? Change your relationship with money. Just to repeat, feel free to take a look at this. I will, there'll be a download from this that you can get. If anything got brought up that you want to work with me on regarding money, I have some special packages for these lives particularly, and only for these lives particularly. So take a look in the comments for the call to action and see if it's something that may work for you. And if it's not, I'm glad that you attended. I hope I contributed something to you. And hey, everybody, it's a little crazy here in America right now. I don't know how it is in your world, wherever you are, but I send you a lot of love. I send you a lot of light, and keep the peace. Keep kindness in your heart. Keep tranquility in your soul, and ground yourself, and proceed with caution. Who are you being? What are you being? What lie are you buying into? Thanks for your time today, or whenever you listen to this. Bye for now.